This is Providence Television International, the game changer.
Good day and welcome to the program Issues in the News. I am Ugbebo Ikekwa. Today we'll be looking at Trump's second coming. Yesterday was actually the inauguration ceremony. It did actually take place yesterday. Well, we'll be looking at his second coming and how it affects not just Africa but also Nigeria. Well, in the studio today, I have with me a renowned broadcaster, chairman, chief executive officer, Providence Television International, Dr. Emmanuel Ihariba. You're welcome to the studio.
Yes, always a great moment to be here, but this is also so spectacular because really it's truly an issue in the news. The American president is not just another president. We're happy that the inauguration has taken place in Washington, and yes, very well, we'll talk about the issues involved.
All right, we'll go straight to one of the pressing issues. It has been quite a matter of concern to Nigerians especially. We'll be looking at the issue of illegal migrants. He has said, even before his swearing in yesterday, that he was going to he'll be clamping down on illegal migrants. What's your take on this?
Before I talk about that, let's quickly talk about, this whole issue of the inaugural. For instance, it was the number 60 in the series, 60th inauguration ceremony. All right, and we also know that it happened on Martin Luther King's Day.
Yes.
For example.
Exactly. And I think we'll have a picture of Martin Luther King.
Yeah, we should. But if we can't get it now, it doesn't matter. We'll just skip it. But however, that's the picture of the inauguration. But I also want to talk about Trump as a person.
Yes.
A man with, like the proverbial card, a man with 9 lives. He escaped 2 assassination attempts, you remember?
Yes.
During the electionary campaign. But he went over all of this, in spite of the huge antagonism from some of the detractors. He became the president still, making history, of course, as not history really, but because somebody has been there before. He is the second president to have staged a comeback after Grover Cleveland, who was there in 1884 and 1892. So he's the second guy in the whole of American history. So he has had a lot of things going for him. But you see, Americans are very unpredictable people. Very, very, very unpredictable people. You never can read them thoroughly because nobody gave Trump a chance against Harris. For the first time, everybody around the world thought that, yes, this woman, cerebral, brilliant, great lawyer, would just make history herself as the first female president of the United States. But, it was. Trump won again. In fact, with a wider margin now than he did before. He won both the popular votes and the electoral college votes. So he was generally accepted, so to speak, at least by way of demographics. So, but we are talking about a man who has a lot of idiosyncrasies. And yesterday he showed it. He was a little bit unsettled, looking right and left to see if there will be another assassination attempt or something. But he was quite uneasy. Obviously, I saw it very clearly. He was listless. He was not very enthusiastic. I'm sure he was praying inwardly that, this thing should just get underway as quickly as possible so he can, to use our own phrase, Nigeria, to hit the ground running. But yes, to answer your question now directly, illegal migrants, there are many in the United States, and the economy must get better. He wishes for that. Yes, that's the barrier over there. I think this is against Mexicans.
Mexico, yes.
Okay. Mexicans who are trying to cross over from Mexico into the United States. Look at the huge barrier. And America is sandwiched between, by way of geography now, is in the middle. Mexico is down in the south and Canada is up north. And he's even trying to annex some parts of Canada to say that no, they belong to the United States. All right, and that's a growing problem now, particularly with the resignation of Prime Minister Trudeau. Okay, so but as a person, he has a lot of challenges ahead. But I must talk about Nigeria. Nigeria has a lot of illegal migrants in the United States. If there's a clampdown and we talk about repatriation It will affect Nigeria very, very badly, very, very terribly badly. And how are we going to cope if it happens? Because there will be influx of Nigerians back to Nigeria. That would be a very terrible thing. It might even affect the diplomatic relations between Nigeria and the United States in a very terrible manner. However, and you know that Nigerians, some of countrymen and women in the United States, they've been looking for a green card for the past 4, 5, some for 6 years.
Yes.
All right? So anytime they step out of America, that's the end of the story.
Very true.
So, but Trump is saying, look, America first. That's his, that's the plank of his policy.
Yes.
And if he says that, it means that there will be a kind of system that affects African countries. So if he says America first, it means that a lot of countries are going to be shortchanged, particularly on the continent of Africa. Nigeria obviously is one of them. What that means is that from the point of economics, if the dollar shows up, a lot of currencies will suffer.
Yeah.
If the dollar gains more traction, then there will be less fervency on the part of the naira, which means that we are not going to be really, really out of the woods in terms of the strength of our currency. That's what we must watch out for. So illegal migrants, yes, he's very serious about that, and I believe that because he has the majority in Congress, these things will all go through. I mean, easily, seamlessly, it will go through. Yeah, without any problem at all.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll look at another issue. Trump is a Republican, and
Yes.
this is not like we're trying to say anything negative about the Republicans. The Republicans are known for their strictness, especially when it comes to issues like war and policing the world. And if I remember, in a recent interview you had with one of our sister stations, you made it quite clear that America this time should stop that act of being the police of the world. Can you expatiate on that?
Yes, I remember an interview. I think it was on ABS.
Yes, it was.
It came around. So, but let's face it. The time for that is gone. Time was when America will cough and there will be reactions all over the world. Because you see, we have a lot of powers now. Nuclear powers, that is, who can give America a good run for its money. We have Russia, we have China, we have North Korea, we have Iran. These are powers. The case of Ukraine war has taught America a big lesson, that you don't toy with, because there could be an amalgamation of those powers coming together against America. Okay, so they are very conscious about that, and I believe that Trump is aware. That's why he's building a pact with Putin, for instance.
Okay.
Yeah, particularly as against the issues in Ukraine, and it's also, this is surprising. I mean, for me as a student of foreign relations, it's surprising to me because it's not building a partnership with Israel as strongly as we'll expect.
Exactly.
You know,
I was about to ask you that question.
Yes, because look at it now. Even before the inauguration, they said, look, we must give room for a newer template. And that sent a signal to Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel. And that is why, for instance, we now have a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, okay? Which is a good thing, really. I mean, talking about relationship with nations in the Middle East. He wants peace to reign in the Middle East. Because, again, you see, it will put less pressure on America. If there is war, all-out war in the Middle East, it will affect America very terribly badly. So I think that's a way out for him. And Netanyahu, some people have called him a stooge of the United States, and he has mellowed down a little bit, and that's why we have had less of tension in the last 1 or 2 weeks. But far beyond that, we must talk about the economy. All right. If the dollar shows up, and there's further devaluation of the naira, I mean, using Nigeria as an example, it means that you give opportunity to countries like China and other EU countries to make very serious inroads into Africa. They will build partnerships with a lot of African countries. And America obviously would not like that. So I think there will be a rethink as far as that issue is concerned.
All right. I'm going to ask this personal question before I go down to my other analysis. The issue of religion and leadership, as in leaders having to veer into religious matters. Is that right from your point of view?
Well, they say that religion and politics do not quite mix well, but they do, quite frankly. They do. I mean, if they don't, why do we have agitation for Muslim president and Christian president in a country like Nigeria, for instance? We are running a Muslim ticket now. A lot of people are not happy about that. I mean, obviously that is religion playing out, okay? But on the international arena, religion is also important. The war in the Middle East, for instance, is a religious war. And religious war do not end, okay? It goes on and on and on. And there are many countries around the world that have gone to conflicts arising from religious differences. That is why I think that the issue of religion must be played down to avoid tension and all kinds of discrepancies. But in the case of the United States, a secular country, good enough. There you have Catholics, Protestant, Baptists, and you have Buddhists, you have Rosicrucians, and all sort of sects. So it's a melting pot, and therefore President Trump will not toe the line of one particular religion. But I believe your question must be tied to the issue of gay marriage.
Exactly.
For instance,
gay marriage, the issue of abortion.
Yes, that's right. And he has said very clearly, as part of his policy statement, that he's in full support of two genders, male and female.
Exactly.
That will create ripples around the world, obviously. But he's a man who doesn't care about such things, and I believe that he will have the support of very many African countries in this regard. Because come to think of it, it's against morality. Even though morality is not there in international relations, yes, it's not even in law, okay? The issue of morality is played down in law, but yeah, we must talk about it. And the people who support this issue, they are protectors of human rights. Oh yes, they're gays, they have within the ambit of human rights, lesbians. But it's against morality, it's against the moral order. That's not what God expects of us. Okay, and I think Trump, by the way, is turning a new leaf. I think he's becoming a better Christian these days. In the first time, he wasn't quite a good one, but he's changing his format, which is good for him, by the way. I remember the invocation of, there's a great gentleman, I just remember the name now. Yes, Cardinal Timothy Dolan of New York. He gave a wonderful invocation at the inaugural yesterday. Yes. Wonderful innovation, meaning that he was talking as if Trump is even a Catholic. Okay, I don't know if he is or is going to be, but that was a beautiful invocation by the clergyman. And I also believe that it will be a plus for America. Because a lot of people hated America for it. I mean, why should we support gay marriage, for instance? All right? And you know the irony. A man will marry a man. After a while, they will be looking for children. A woman, lesbians, a woman will marry a woman, they will be looking for children. Why don't you go the natural way? I mean, it's odd, for example. And I think this is one of the things driving Trump to say, no, we must put a stop to this kind of nonsense.
All right, before we go to the presidents that were in attendance at the inauguration, looking at this issue of abortion, because there were some executive orders yesterday that were signed, and about 3 of them concentrated on this issue of abortion. Yes, it's a known fact. Trump is a Catholic, and the Catholic Church is totally against the issue of abortion. So, I think the international world would also say, you are bringing your religious tendencies to the leadership of a nation, and that was why I asked that question initially.
No, as long as it does not go against the moral order. All right. I mean, I'm in support of that, obviously. It's a personal thing that I have to respond to. The moral order says this. In any case, I would wish that all laws on the face of this planet will spring from the moral order.
Okay.
Yes, that's my wish. Okay. Honestly, because you see, that's where we get our humanity from. Because if you look at things happening, I just give an example of gay marriages and things like that. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Either you are talking about religion or talking about morality. Okay? It doesn't make sense. I know it's right. I mean, in any case, there are many countries who have legislated against this. Even from the point of law, they have legislated against it. Nigeria is one of them, for instance. I mean, you cannot contract a gay marriage in Nigeria. You go to jail.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. So, that's it. And America, being the leader of the free world, is a big secular country. We are talking about this. Then it must send some signals down the line. Okay? And maybe God is going to use him to bring some very obvious changes, and very beautiful changes to the way we live and the way we practice some of these things. Therefore, I should give him some kudos as far as that is concerned. I like that, and a lot of people will support me in this. Okay. And that's a plus for him as the president of the free world.
That's us recognizing that there are just two genders officially now in the United States. We have
by the way,
as of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
That's a very strong statement, and they got quite an applause for that.
Yes, because, well, first of all, he has the Congress in support. Obviously, that's a big plus for him as well. The Congress is Republican, all right? But that's not to say that if he does the wrong thing down the line, they will not vote against him. That's the beauty of democracy in America. Okay. So I think that he's doing the right path as far as that issue is concerned. And I'm happy, though, that a lot of world leaders are already expressing their support for him for having taken that decision.
Exactly. Yeah. In attendance yesterday were 3 former American presidents. One of them actually supported the gay rights and all that. Let us see the picture and the presidents who were in attendance. Yes.
Yeah, that's Clinton there with Hillary, his wife. That's Bush. Bush is with Laura. Laura, very fine woman. In fact, one of the best first ladies we have seen. Yes, pretty woman. Pretty and yeah, you can see. Yes, pretty and very comely. Then, of course, Obama. Obama didn't come with his wife. Even during the burial of Carter. Yes, he did not for personal reasons. But out of these 3, 2 are, let's face it, 2 are not from the Republican Party. All right, they are Democrats. Only Bush is the Republican there.
Yes.
There will even be 3 now when you're talking about past presidents, if you are the Biden. Okay?
Yes.
So for living presidents, there will be 3 from the Democratic Party and only one, that's Bush, from the Republican Party. But you could see the amity.
Yeah.
That's what makes them different from us. You could see the amity, the kind of beautiful relationship they have across political party divide. And that's the thing we must practice in this country. They came and they shook hands. It doesn't matter, we must break down the wall.
Exactly.
That's what they were
had
telling
their
us.
chats and
they had their chats, banters and all sort of things.
Yes.
They forgot.
Exactly.
Yes, that's Biden and Trump. Arch enemies before now. But look at the gesture.
Yes.
Look at the gesture, beautiful gesture. And that's one thing we must practice in this country. I've said it before, even after elections. I look forward to a day. I always keep saying that the losers must have a handshake with the winner. That makes for congeniality, and it makes for beauty of the democratic process. America is showing the line again. They are showing the world. In fact, it's a reenactment of what they lost the first time a few years ago. Now they are bringing it back. And thank goodness that they did, because that will show the entire world there should be no enmity.
Exactly.
In this kind of circumstances, there should be none. I mean, we're all brothers, we're all friends. That's what they are showing us. And they are showing us very vividly that, yes, these things can happen. And you can see that can you show that picture again, please? The 3 American presidents, the 3 presidents. Bush was sandwiched between 2 presidents from the other party.
Exactly.
Look at him. On his right is Clinton, right? Democrat. On his left is Obama, another Democrat.
Yes.
But he's a Republican. And they are happy. Look at the wife. Look at the smile on the face of Laura.
I actually did follow that inauguration ceremony yesterday.
Yes.
Actually, I did monitor it. And if you see, there was this, how do I put it? They were like a family.
Of course.
They were like a family.
It's a family of ex-presidents. Look, and let me tell you this. If anything happens, anything untoward, if it happens to any of the past presidents, America will rise up. All in one single voice. They will rise up. Yes, if anything happens to any of them, that's why Americans always refer. They usually don't use the prefix or the expression ex-president. No, they want to talk about Clinton. Say President Clinton, Bush, President Bush, even though they're out of office. That's what the American system says. So if anything happens to any of them, you will see the American nation rise up with one voice, not caring whether it was a Republican or Democrat. And that played out, in that picture. And I believe that it's a lesson for the whole world. For example, we must break the barriers separating leaders. That's a good mark of leadership.
Okay.
Yes, leadership must not be ingrained in all kinds of unnecessary hostilities, as it were. Is the president is Republican, okay?
Yes.
But the Democrats came along.
Exactly.
Yes, they came along to show solidarity.
Yes.
Yes.
Kamala
Because,
Harris, who lost, she was there.
Yes, he was there.
She was there. Exactly.
She was there with her principal.
Yes.
She was there with her principal.
Mm.
She was the opponent. In Nigeria, they will not go. Yes, they won't. But look, I remember what Chief Oyego used to say, particularly after the court process that brought him fully into power. And he said one thing one day. I was a much younger person, but I continue to remember it. He said, now that we have crossed over into governance, we must forget about those enmities and things like that. Yes, all those distractions from the electioneering campaign. He said that back in 1992, and I still remember it today. Electioneering is over. Let's forget about all those banters, negative banter. Let us face the issue of governance. Yes, and that's what the American system believes in. They believe in it so much. Yes, we must forget about those issues that divided us. Let us forge ahead. Yes, and do the needful.
All right. Trump's second coming, we seem to be seeing a very, very different Trump now, because he made mention of the fact that the American society under his administration is going to be a society that is color blind.
In other words, he's not going to be involved in racism.
Exactly.
Yes, because a lot of people have talked about him as a racist.
Yes.
He wants to dispel all of that. Yeah, because that really brought him down considerably. Then he wants to talk about he being free from the shackles of racism and all of that. But even at that, can we really? Let's face it now. He's going to repatriate a lot of people, obviously.
Quite true.
Yes, but not based on racism. It is going to be based on their records. For instance, how did you enter America? Did you enter? It's not against people who entered America legally.
Yes.
Yes, it's not against them. It's against people who entered America as illegal migrants. Yes, and Africans they are in large numbers, particularly Nigeria. That is my fear. If he decides tomorrow to send back Nigerians, we'll be in a position of terror. Yes, terror in the sense that a lot of people will come back home. What are they going to be doing? Yes. Somebody told me something yesterday, a couple of days ago. I went visiting a friend. A cousin of his came from the U.S.
Okay.
And I asked him, when are you coming back to Nigeria? He said, Uncle, I'm willing to come back. But the infrastructure on ground, is it ready to receive us? That was vital, and I thought about it. It sent my mind rolling. The infrastructure we have on ground, can it receive Americans, Nigerians who are in America today? And the answer obviously is no. Okay. So we must be prepared for that. Must be prepared for the surge, the upward swing of the dollar. Okay. And if that happens, it will affect the Naira in one way or the other, as I said earlier. And that will not be a plus for us.
I was just about to ask you what were your expectations. You just answered that question even before I asked. But then you always have a parting shot for us, Dr. Egariba.
The parting shot would be that, yes, let us follow the due process when it comes to election and election results. The Americans did not go to court over election matters. No. As a matter of fact, as the election was finishing, this young woman, Harris, was congratulating Trump.
Exactly.
Okay? Yeah. That's the kind of scenario that I want to see in our country. Our country is very large in terms of population, okay, and in terms of demographics. So let us take the advantage that we have to behave like America, where we took this process from. We borrowed a leaf from America, I mean, in terms of presidential practice.
Yes.
Okay? So, to that extent, we must abide by the tenets of this process. That's my take. And I also believe that, I'm not too sure now if I saw a lot of African leaders at the place. They may have been there in large numbers, but maybe they were put somewhere else. However, Trump has mounted the saddle. The whole world must be looking towards him. Let us see how he tackles the issue in Ukraine. Let us see how he tackles the issue in Africa, the issues of poverty, for instance. Let us see how he tackles the issue of weapons of mass destruction, which are all over the place now. A lot of countries are coming up with weapons. In fact, I've been told now from recent research, if you put all the arsenals together, they are enough. I mean, all the arsenals from different countries, the nuclear arsenals. If you put all of them together, they are enough to destroy the entire world 20 times over. Yes. So we are in perilous times. And we must go back to the time of Reagan, for instance. Let's break the barrier and let us see how we can come together to remove all these warheads. We are not, luckily, I think Obama started it. You're going to the moon, you are going to, although, Trump has said it again, that he would like to have the American flag on Mars.
Exactly. And because see, there's been this tight relationship between himself and Musk, who has always talked about this.
Yes, but Americans are not going to be happy with him because even NASA, the NASA project have been scaled down considerably. What are we doing on the moon? What are we doing in space? When the problems here overwhelm us. Exactly. But he's saying now that in Mars, let us find out what if he's going to build houses on Mars. That's one of the things he will do that will not make sense at all. He's going to start the space race. Again, that's what it means. Yes. Because if he succeeds, and he can easily do that, succeeds in putting American flag on Mars, other nations will follow. Exactly. And then there will be less emphasis on food, on climate change, on health. Those are the things we want. Those are the parameters to measure leadership. Not going to Mars. What are you going to meet your ancestors on Mars? No, it's not called for. It's not called for at all.
All right. Well, it's been quite an interesting session. Like I would always say, I could go on and on and on with Dr. Emmanuel Tegariba. But then we'll have other programs lined up for your viewing pleasure. So I want to say once again, thanks for watching. And please,
let me just quickly say this. I'm sorry about this. We're going to start a program very shortly, and we'll call it The Way It Was. I'm so passionate about that program because it's going to take us a little bit back into time, what this nation was, those fine points that we have missed completely. So I want to appeal to people. If you know that, yes, you are one of the people, our resource person that we can use to help us go back into time, please let us know. Send your name to us. You can call us, and we'll be ready to have you as one of our guests. We'll be very, very happy to have you.
And on this note, I'll say, please tell your friends and family about Providence Television International. Thanks for watching.